You are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast.
What is going down? It is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. What's up, guys? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing? Before we get started, I just want to say I appreciate everybody who takes part in this podcast. New listeners, old listeners who just happen to stop by from time to time. Anybody who's taking the time to listen to this podcast and listen to me bitch and moan about certain things and talk about, shit that I like to do. I just want to say I thank each and every one of you guys. I definitely appreciate it. And I'm belated, by all the support that I've been receiving and all the interactions that I've been getting on this podcast, man. I just want to say thank you to everybody. I had to mention that before I got started with the rest of the show. Now, with that being said, let's get started. Today's show, I want to talk about the future of gaming, the future of video games in general, man, like what's going on with it. There's been a lot of things transpiring as of late that leads me to believe video games, as far as the physical, the physical version of these games, it's dying slowly, and the writing is on the wall. I can see it. And we're going to get into that, man. I'm going to talk about that, some things that's been going on in the gaming world and community or whatever. And, it's not all bad. I mean, there's some good stuff too, as far as retro gaming is concerned. Like retro gaming is a big thing, man. And it's getting even bigger. There's a lot of love out here in these video game streets for the retro gamer and all these games of yesteryear. And we'll get into that some as well. A couple tidbits real quick, though. I wanted to talk a little bit about some Nintendo Switch stuff. Like I said, man, I've said this before on, older podcasts. One thing that Nintendo definitely has on its side is the fact that it has so many supported third-party, trinkets and things that you can do for the Nintendo Switch. It's crazy. Not just the Switch. I mean, there's older consoles as well. I mean, for the GameCube, which is by a lot of Nintendo fans their favorite, system of all time. The Nintendo is definitely got some things going for it. And one of the things that caught my eye, I talked about it a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, on an older podcast, maybe last one or two podcasts, is their controllers by a third-party company called 8-Bit Do or 8-Bit Do, however you want to pronounce it, is 8, the number 8, BITDO. These guys make some fucking excellent products, man. They have this controller that's basically emulated after, all the older Nintendo consoles. They have the original Nintendo, but my favorite right now is the one that's emulated off of the Super NES. And there's two versions. There's really more than two versions, but as far as, analogs and stuff are concerned, there's two versions that I've seen. There's the ones that look exactly identical to the Super NES controls without analogs. And then there's another one for a little bit more, and you get two analogs with that. Now, the cool thing about these controllers are you can actually, they're Bluetooth, so you can actually play them on the Switch, or if you wanted to play it wirelessly on your phone or tablet or PC, you can do all of these things. That's what's so awesome about this controller. So it's a multi-purpose controller. You know what I mean? When you buy this controller, it's definitely worth the money, and they're not very expensive at all. I think, for the ones with the analogs, you can get anywhere from $30 to $35. I mean, that's beautiful, baby. You know what I mean? Have to have one. I'm gonna have one. Might even buy two. But the quality of it, from what I've seen, is stellar as fuck. Works very well. and the quality of all the buttons and the directional pad, all that stuff is lined up, just right. So I recommend a controller like this to somebody who, plays their Switch, in dock mode a lot. And, there's some people who actually will set it up somewhere and just set the screen up and want to play that way. Yeah, that's fine as well. But like I said, the cool thing about it is it's a multi-purpose controller, so you can use it on a lot of different things. So, those games or those emulators that people like to play on their phones or tablets, maybe per se, one of these bad boys, man, it'll get you right there. No more screen touching and all that bullshit. So that controller is by the company before, like I said, it's called 8-Bit Do or 8-Bit Do. I'm going to say both every time I say it because I don't want to get the name wrong. But yeah, thought I'd add that. Also, there is, for people who still want to play the GameCube and you want to use a GameCube controller, but you want to use it wirelessly without the cord, there's actually an adapter you can get by the same company, 8-Bit Do or 8-Bit Do, that you can get where basically you plug that into the Switch and you basically plug the end of the controller into that device. And it's wireless. It's fucking wireless. So, matter of fact, I think that piece is wireless, and you just plug your controller in there, and then it just connects via Bluetooth to the Switch, which is cool. I mean, so you can pretty much and they work with Nintendo Wii controllers as well. So like, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really, really cool. So I just had to add that, put that out there. Nintendo's always making some dope ass stuff, man, and accessories. Hands down, they got some of the best ones. I will give them that. I also wanted to touch on real quick, No More Heroes. It's a game that I've been waiting for. A lot of you guys listening know about this game. I think there was one on the PlayStation 3, and then the other ones I want to say were earlier games on another Nintendo platform. But the new one, No More Heroes, there's an exclusive one coming out for the Switch, and we finally got a release date on that. That's going to be January 18th. So I'm very excited about that because I knew it was going to be 2019, but I didn't know how soon. And luckily it's in the first fucking month. So, man, that's news for me. I have to have this game. If you know anything about No More Heroes, man, then you know why I'm talking highly about this title. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this one. It's going to be dope, man. Definitely. And I've personally been neglecting, my Nintendo Switch as far as games because Sony is just so good with, with games that they put out, man. It's like, you don't have time. I don't have time for the Switch like I thought that I would have. So I told myself I need to, stop spending money on PlayStation right now because I got enough and focus some more on the Switch. So there's a lot of shit coming out for the Switch, man. There's some games I've been peeping. And I really like what they're bringing to the table. No More Heroes is one for the first quarter of the new year, but there's also some other ones. There's one called Battlezone. It's kind of like a tank fighter. I don't know. It's a game that just caught my eye. I'm going to look more into that title and probably talk about it on the next podcast. But I saw a little bit of a video and gameplay on this, man, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. And we got SNK's 40th anniversary. That shit looks dope. There's a lot of extra content in this game, basically like art and, stories on how the games were created and, so many things, treats you can get with this, SNK's 40th anniversary, man. There's some games on there. There's a game on there called Street Smart. And I remember playing the shit out of this in the arcades, man. It's basically, a fighter, you know what I mean? A fighting game. And it's kind of like a Street Fighter-esque type of title. It's not as deep, but it's definitely fun. It was a game called Street Smarts, man, and I really, really enjoyed it. But that game is one of the titles in this game. Also, I think the game comes out with, I think they give you around 20 games, I want to say. I don't know the exact number. And then you get like another 11 or 12 games for free on an update or a download. So they're giving you more stuff. So that's pretty cool. So there's a lot of things to look forward to. me personally as a Nintendo Switch owner, like I haven't played anything yet, man. I haven't played Breath of the Wild. I haven't played Mario Kart. I haven't, I need these games eventually in my library, but I haven't had time to buy anything. So I'm gonna definitely focus on that going forward, because there's some games coming out on Sony, but the next major game that I want to play is Anthem, and that I saw a new video on that, and that game looks fucking wet. I cannot wait to play that, man. I think we're gonna have so much fun on Anthem. It's gonna be ridiculous. I had a homeboy of mine, a long lost little brother is what I call him. His name is Wood, and we call him Wood. But went to audio engineering school with this guy, man, and he's just full of life, and we like a lot of the same shit. He loves anime like I do. He likes gaming like I do, and music, lots of different types of music and stuff, man. Very, very eclectic, very, very diverse individual, man, like myself. And man, we had the best time this past weekend, man. Linked up for the first time in years, actually, and we played our game, a game that I hold dear to my heart. I have so many great memories playing this game, on the Xbox 360 before the Red Ring of Death fiasco that I had, and then I switched over to PS3. But the game that we played hours and hours and hours upon hours on is a game called Rainbow Six Vegas 2. This is a classic in my opinion, because, it just holds a special place in my heart, man, because we spent, and I'm not lying, I'm not over exaggerating, easily 300 hours on this game. There's so many things to unlock in this game, and ranks and guns and weapons and different cosmetics, hats, excuse me, and war paint and all kinds of different camos and stuff like that, man. The game is just awesome. Still to this day, we played the shit out of that the other night. He came over, and since I don't have an Xbox anymore, I bought the PS3 version as soon as I saw it. I can't remember where I bought it, but as soon as I saw it, I bought it, and I played through the campaign solo. And then I ranked up a little bit, and he came over, and we played until like 5 in the fucking morning. And we had a fucking blast. It's still just so fun, man. Once we got our bearings right, and we got our beaks wet a little bit, our muscle memory came back, and we were doing our thing, man. I think we had a chance to we knocked down like three or four maps before like 5 o'clock came around, and we were just tired as fuck. But the game is, I can't wait to play it again. I can't wait for him to come back and we jump on that game again. That's just like our thing. This is a game that we just really, really love a lot. And part of it is because we just play together on it all the time or whatever. I don't even really feel right playing it solo. You know what I mean? But it's nostalgic, and it's still an awesome game. If you guys don't have it, it's definitely one if you have a PS3 or an Xbox 360 still to put in your library, I definitely recommend playing this game. It's so good, man. With that shit out of the way, though, I want to talk about the future of gaming. Okay. Where the fuck is it going? And the reason why I ask this, man, is because, this whole DLC thing, this whole pay to play mentality, it's getting more and more, relevant. You're seeing a lot more. If it wasn't for the fans who fought back on a lot of this shit, I don't know where we would be. Game developers are going to try us. They are going to test us. They're going to draw lines in the sand, and they're going to, see where our true alliances lay, I think. And, I guess it's not really their fault for trying that. I mean, they're a company, they're a business. So, the guys at the top of the totem pole with the suits and ties who really don't know shit about games, and they only see, the dollar signs and their cuts and losses. I mean, these guys are going to test us every now and then. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I have to catch myself when I get upset at some of these developers, because to be honest, a lot of this shit is not their decision. You know what I mean? They're not the top. They're not at the top of the totem pole. So they're not actually making these decisions. I mean, there's been many a time where I've heard stories and things where the developers would have to go and fight with, the higher ups on certain decisions because the higher ups, they are fucking clueless on, what gamers actually want. And, that is where a lot of issues lie in this. And it's very disturbing at times. We see it everywhere now where we're looking at it, and sometimes we have a knee-jerk reaction. We blow it out of proportion, but sometimes, it's definitely, it definitely needs to be addressed, and things need to be, handled in certain situations. And, I'm proud of, a lot of the fans and players who, when they see some shit that doesn't look right or isn't right, they say something, and, a lot of the time it catches fire, and, then it kind of snowballs downhill. And for us, fortunately, it's a good thing. And these developers finally get their head on straight and then change some things up, and, things get eventually fixed. But it doesn't always work that way. But here's the thing that, is concerning to me. And it bothers me. And it has to do with, like I said, the state of the video game industry going forward. And a lot of it has to do with, everything going digital. I mean, everything going digital. I mean, you can't even buy a physical copy game today and take it home and play it. If I went to GameStop right now and bought, God of War, bought it just, I want to say 75% of the games that I buy, brand new in the package. I don't have any to say I don't have internet. I buy the game, I come home, I put it in. Guess what? There's a strong chance that game is going to be broken and stay broken until I get internet access and until I'm able to download the necessary updates, which in most cases are, lots and lots and lots of fucking gigs. I'm talking about anywhere from 20 to fucking 50 gigs with a physical copy. So it's kind of like, it's almost like, it feels like they're pushing you away from physical, because they're like, well, shit, if you buy digital, you just download it. It's going to be 50 gigs and that's going to be it. And you have it digital. If you buy the physical, you're going to have to download that same amount of, space onto your shit. That's what I don't understand. Like, what are they actually even putting on these discs, man? You know what I mean? I need to know, like, what are they putting on these discs physically? Because it seems like almost every disc that I buy, with the exception of a couple, you have to actually download pretty much the whole entire fucking game, just like if you had ordered it digitally. So it doesn't make sense. Buying the physical copy, what is that going to do? I mean, now I've chosen to take the physical route. I used to, favor the digital route, but, I'm a guy who likes to actually pick his game up and hold it and look at it. And, I'm one of the guys who like to play what I want to play when I want to play it. And I have to worry about, servers eventually dying or internet issues happening. And then you can't play any of your games because for whatever reason, they're on the cloud or whatever. So either if all the games that I've paid for digitally now I'm backing them up on my personal hard drives so that I can access them whenever I want, however I want to. So I don't have to depend on the cloud, because things happen. The internet gets shut down. So, things happen on networks and stuff. Maybe they got hacked, or there's a number of things. And if you get caught in that and you're looking forward to playing something, or you were looking forward to playing something, it's not going to happen until that shit is resolved. Same. Also, you can also look at it like, these servers aren't going to be around forever. I mean, when that next system comes out, you might still be enjoying, your last gen system perfectly fine. And, not ready to put it down for whatever reason. But when those servers drop, you're done. I mean, you can't play online with these games anymore. And you better hope that you have the patches that it needs to operate the games, because if you don't, then, that video game, that physical copy is just a coaster in itself if you don't have it downloaded onto, your said system. So it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to take in. But, I mean, you can see it, and you can see where it's moving, where it's going. And I'm, for one, I'm not really happy about that. I mean, yes, it's convenient for a lot of different things, but at the same time, I think, they should still give the consumer the option, to go physical or digital and keep it that way. You save a lot of jobs that way. And, everybody's talking about the future consoles, are going to be streaming consoles, and I'm not really bent on that either. I mean, it's not streaming games. No. Downloading games. Okay. But streaming, and then anything can happen to a file. It can easily be corrupted. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could happen. It could be erased. Something could happen. You could have it could be storming outside, lightning strikes, anything, and then that shit is gone. And if the server's not up and running anymore, guess what? You're fucked. I'm just saying, a lot of these things is things that I think about, and I'm sure a lot of you may have thought about before. And, I want to know how you guys feel. I wonder what you guys think about this. Do you think that it's okay to eliminate all physical copies of games and everything like that? I don't, especially when you talk about older games and those things. And that's got me back into wanting to go back into retro gaming as far as finding and getting the games that I used to play and that I, want to have. And keep them in my possession so I could just play those, like, the cartridge-based titles, like Nintendo 64 and all of those, this cartridge-based, you plug it up and you put it in. What you get on that disc or what you get on that cartridge is what you get. You know what I mean? Which is cool, which is dope. Same thing for any other system that you might buy. Some of the older ones, the PlayStation 1s and the Sega Saturns, which is my favorite console of all time. But things like that. So, matter of fact, me and my buddy, man, we went to a movie trading company and we looked around, and man, I forgot how awesome movie trading company was. There's so much gold sitting in there, man. It is. And fuck, how many pop figures are there, by the way? Because it seems like everybody that was ever born on Earth has their own pop figure. I mean, I've seen figures that, like, I couldn't believe they were made. But they're out there, you know what I mean? And different variations as well. Like Prince has 3 different variations, so far. And there'll probably be more. I mean, it's a trip, man. But yeah, movie trading company, man, I saw a lot of dope shit there. They have really cheap PSP games. I love the PSP system. Really cheap. There's a lot of good deals there. There's a lot of anime that they have. There's posters, there's retro games, controllers and systems and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They're selling they're selling a Nintendo 64 for like $100 though. Oh man, I wish I still had mine. But the next one I get, I will keep, and I'm not getting rid of it. So that's where I stand on that. But there's even converters now, and I need to look more into this, but there's even converters now where you can HD up your older consoles, man. I'm going to look more into that and get more into that. But there's some names that I've heard. I can't think of it right now. I didn't have time to do enough research before I actually put it on this podcast, but they exist. They are out there. And I want to know what these are. So it's just, as a gamer, these things excite me, but, definitely the future of gaming has got me a little shook because I don't know where we're headed. And so as going forward, man, anything that I buy, any game that I buy, I'm going to buy physical. And the only reason I would not buy physical, which is most of the time that pretty much all the other games that I have digital on my account or whatever, the only reason why I pay for those digitally is because there's digital sales. Some of those sales are hard to walk away from, man. You know what I mean? Like the Bloodborns and just some of these games. They're hard to walk away from. The physical. The digital copies. They're so cheap, and they have sales all the time on the Sony network all the fucking time. So some of these are, but some I have to be strong about, and I will. But yeah, going forward though, all my games that I buy, for the most part, will be physical. That goes for anything that I find or buy, whatever. And I have a lot of older systems, as far as handhelds, man. I got a DS, I got a 3DS, and I have a Sony PSP. So I'm going to try to get my hands on I really want to get my hands on a Saturn, but those are fucking hard to find now. They're getting harder and harder to find. And the games, let's not even talk about those. Those are fucking ridiculous. But, you know, I eventually want one, so, and I eventually shall. But yeah, man, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the future of gaming and, you know, what it looks like for the future in my eyes through my lens, you know, going forward. One of the other things I wanted to touch on before I get out of here is Nintendo. Again, we're going to go back to Nintendo. And, you know, there's a lot of people, man, that are very, very frustrated right now with the way Nintendo is running their online portion of their shit, their thing, whatever you want to call it. It is very depressing. And it's the reason why I will not be playing online on the Nintendo Switch anytime soon. You know, I'll stick to single player games, and if it's multiplayer for whatever reason, like a Smash or something, I will just enjoy myself, you know, playing with friends and family. I mean, that's about it, because they don't have any dedicated servers. There's things that Nintendo should have by now, and I don't understand why they don't have it. You know, native voice chat. These are things that are, you know, a lot of Nintendo fans are getting tired of, especially ones that want to play online. And yes, it's $20 a year. It's very, very cheap. But at the same time, I mean, it wasn't when it came out. I mean, for a whole year, even more than a year, the online was free on the Switch. You didn't have to pay for online. And then they tell you, okay, now you're going to have to pay $20 for the same shit we're giving you. With the exception of a few Nintendo games, regular NES games. That's all you get. They sprinkle some of those in there on you, and that's it. You're supposed to just accept this. And a lot of people aren't accepting it. This is something that I think we just, as gamers, need to stand together on and let them fucking take their head out of their asses, man, and make these decisions and make these changes, because everybody has native voice chat now. Everybody. There's no excuse to fucking use an app on your phone to allow you to talk to somebody else to play with. It doesn't make sense. You can do the Nintendo Switch is perfectly capable of doing these things. Okay. And the same thing with virtual consoles. All right. They're saying they're doing away with virtual consoles. Why are you doing away with virtual consoles? It doesn't make fucking sense. You should not do that. You're missing out on a lot of money. I think they're just clueless. I think because it's a Nintendo Switch and it's different from the other systems, which did have, you know, virtual console. They just figure like they don't want to do it because it's different. But different is not always better, man. You know, sometimes you got to rock with that same recipe that everybody licking their fucking lips and sucking on their fingers. And this is one of those things. Okay. And they have to bring it back. Now the Sega Ages Collection thing, I am excited about that. I mean, I'm very excited to see where they go with that as a Sega fan, but as just a Nintendo fan as well, just as somebody who wants to play some of these older titles and things of that nature, man, they're not doing the right thing, in my opinion. They just got it all wrong. It seems like they're just very, very clueless, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing, man. I mean, sometimes it's how it fucking feels. It just does. And it's just like they're just stubborn. And even though they know they're wrong, I think a lot of these guys know they're wrong. They know they're fucking up. But their pride will not allow them to, you know, admit it, number one, and two, react or act on it. In other words, go back to the drawing board and give the fans what they actually fucking want. Now, time will tell if this is going to change or not. And I have a feeling that if they keep on doing this fuckboy shit, eventually they'll take a hint, and eventually the fans will speak loud enough. And I think, you know, maybe some things might change. But the only way that's going to change is if you don't support the boo-boo that is in the room. Okay? Don't acknowledge the boo-boo in the room. If you go over there and you try to poke at it and play with it and maybe try to figure out a way to clean it up, they're going to continue to do it. And this online thing is really, it's Achilles' heel, in my opinion, if you want to talk about Nintendo Switch, which is overall a great system. And they have a lot of things working for them now. And they were laid out the gate, in my opinion, for that. I mean, that's the reason I didn't have one day one, or even 6 months after it was released. I still wanted to see more from Nintendo. And it took over a year for me to finally start to see what they were trying to do. And, you know, I saw some of the things that I liked. And then I made that decision to push play on my purchase. But this online shit I'm still null and void on that. I'm not going to support that because it's not worth it. It's not worth supporting. You know, give me some native voice chat, take that shit off the app, and then we might be cooking with Crisco. I'd even be willing to overlook the fucking, them not having their own dedicated servers. In my opinion, native voice chat is more important. And, the virtual console thing, man, is definitely, something that needs to be addressed. I would love to see some Nintendo 64 stuff. I mean, I know we've got rumors of a Nintendo 64 mini coming. And I think that, that's a beautiful thing if that is true. But, we still would love to have some virtual console shit. Please, Nintendo, if you're listening to this, just come on, man. I don't know what else to say. Just come on, man. What else can I say to that? Also, YouTube. YouTube is finally on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, YouTube. Even though I'm not ever probably going to use YouTube on there. I go to my phone for those type of things. I mean, it's nice to know that it's there. Next thing we're waiting on is Netflix. Netflix is the last thing. I mean, you got Hulu, but not Netflix. So let's see what happens with that and see what you guys have up your sleeves and hopefully, add that. They, like I said, late bloomers. I mean, why are they now just adding this stuff, which in my opinion should have been on there day one? Who knows? Who fucking knows? And if we keep pissing on this app, this Nintendo app thing, I mean, we might be able to get them to actually go back to the drawing board and get us some fucking native voice chat for our games. All right. The dedicated server thing, man, I honestly don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but who knows, man? Maybe they got us snowed. Maybe they got some stuff up their sleeve and they just haven't gotten to it yet. That's just my opinion on it. And, I'll get off of that, put my money on the table and walk away. All right, guys. That's pretty much going to do it for this show, guys. It was a quick show. It's not as long as, some of my, last few, but I got what I needed to say off my chest. And I felt that it's a pretty solid show. I'll be back next week. Every Monday, like I always do, and we'll get into some more gangster shit. Not a lot of talk about anime-wise right now, but definitely it's coming soon. Pretty soon we'll have the Dragon Ball movie, and there will be lots and lots of stuff to talk about concerning that. Because I'm not really watching any other anime right now, but Naruto Shippuden. Matter of fact, I got my computer on standby, and I've got the next episode to look forward to, and that would be episode 67. Yeah, from Naruto Shippuden, however you want to pronounce it. But yeah, man, with that being said, I'm going to get my ass up out of here. If you want to holler at me, you can on social media. I'm out here in these streets all the time, everywhere. On Twitter at Studio MacGyver. The Facebook page is at Studio MacGyver as well. You can also check me out on Instagram. It's Studio MacGyver79. And then also I have a YouTube channel, guys. It's called Studio MacGyver TV. You can also listen to the podcast there. And I have videos of gameplay and different other things and subjects that I talk about, mostly concerning anime and video games. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to get my ass up out of here. Oh, one more thing. Merch. If you like anime and if you like gaming, and I'm sure you do because you listen to this fucking podcast, then you need to check out Beautiful Nerds. That's www.beautifulnerds.com. Nerds is spelled Nurdz. I got a brand new hentai line on there right fucking now. It's dope. I got another version of the hentai collection coming very, very soon, so be looking out for that. But man, hoodies, hats, beanies, backpacks, mugs, all these things, man, and then some. If you want to get some merch, you want to get some cool shit, definitely check out Beautiful Nerds, guys. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I want to thank each and all and every one of you for listening. I want to say I love you all, and I'll be back next week, guys. With that being said, you have been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.